one of the things that I see a lot is customers giving too much data too much access to the data. So the customer is like, oh, I have all these documents. I'm going to put in an S3 or Google Cloud bucket. And then the agent will just have access to all of this. And like, have you checked what data is in there? Do you know what data is in there? Have you done any data sanity checks on it? Or right now with agents, giving access to databases, like what controls you have to be able to get up databases. If you have a multi-tenancy database, do you have the proper controls so the agent can only see what the user is supposed to see? And how can you prevent that agent from all of a sudden giving information about a different customer? And it becomes harder in a multi-tenancy database, right? Where everything is in that same database, but the user should only be seeing um, customer X, customer one. How do you prevent that? How do you make sure that? And so that's something that I have seen a bit where we are talking about customers and the customers are like, oh, yeah, I haven't even thought about that. Like, okay, how do we put all of this together?
In general, what do you have to walk them through to, if they haven't thought about that, what process do you take them through? What do that they go through?
So some of the customers, if they come from a microservice perspective, it's a little bit easier because they have already been thinking about it. How do you secure microservices? And some of that security applies now to LLMs and to this architecture with agents and racks. Some others that don't, then we have to start taking a look. Okay, what is your security in your S3 or your storage buckets? How can you, if I were to start thinking about if I were a customer, like a user from customer B, how can I get prevented from seeing data from customer A? What are the things that you need to, and think about the security, think about how you're building the agent, the securities of the agent. Um, like we had to start taking a look at the architecture. And it gets complex, right? Because every use case is slightly different. Um, how the function is going to access the data, how it's going to navigate the database, and what permissions basically you give to the agent in order to be able to do its job, right? So I mean, it's a full on conversation around: do we need to bring the data outside, the data that just the agent needs, and bring it outside to make it easier for you to secure it? Or do we need to change your architecture to be able to add additional security controls?